Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Leo. Welcome back to Yoga with Lynn and Leo.
And hopefully you're on your mat today. We're going a little bit deeper, including some of the Parivrtta seated poses.
So the equipment that you'll need for this sequence today, a couple of blankets and a chair. We should just mention that this is not a sequence that's suitable for beginners. It's more for intermediate students who've already got a little bit of opening in the body. If you would like to do the poses that we've got in here and you're not as experienced, then have a look at the pose directory and that will give you some ideas of the ways to work towards these poses.
Yes, definitely, and keep working on your standing poses because, as we know, those will give you tremendous mobility and strength. Okay, so starting in the middle of your mat, being in Tadasana, so mountain pose, roll the shoulders back and down. So scan yourself from the base upwards. So from the feet, you've got to see that you spread those toes and get the breadth and broadness in the sole of the foot. Pull up through the kneecaps and just above the knee, really important. Just above the knee to lift the whole of the thigh so that the pelvis receives those thighs, and keep going up all the way through towards the chest and the breast area. This chest, upper sternum area needs to lift. Roll your shoulders back and down. Okay, so we're getting ready now to jump for Trikonasana. Take in the fingers. Soften your knees only, just soften the knees. Just see that you engage with the abdomen, not in a tight way, but just direct it towards the spine. So when you jump, you have a little bit of support there. Breathe in on the inhalation, jump. Okay. Reaching those arms out very strongly, turn your left foot in, the whole of your right foot and leg out. Lift up, extend up. Now remember, you've got a meridian line all the way through the center of the body. Keep everything to the left, moving to the left. Everything to the right, you're going to hinge forward and extend. So keep the weight into the back leg as strong as possible as you hinge to the right side. Extending the top arm up. So you have to see that you reach up so strongly with the arms, and again scan the body from the base. Reach into the soles of the feet, pull up through the legs, and see that when you come to the torso, you're moving the upper and the lower abdominal area to the spine. So front body to the spine, as if you've got a wall behind you. So that wall is right behind you, and you're seeing that that is your measurement. To come out of the pose, you're going to reach up with the palm and come up and extend up. Keep those arms extending out to the sides, turn the feet, and now turn your right foot in, the whole of your left foot and leg out. Straightening your front leg, lifting up, chest up. Now, see again that you've got that meridian line, everything to your right side is moving to the right. Nice inhalation as you extend over into Trikonasana. Pull up the kneecaps and thighs, extend. So again, when you're in this position, we start scanning from the base, press down into the soles of the feet, pull up from there, engage with the knees, lift those knees up, thighs, and when you get to that torso, imagine you've got that wall behind you. So you've got to see that the front body moves to the back body. So you continually support your body through that symmetry and alignment, moving the side waist to the back side waist. Keep the active fluid. The action needs to be fluid and extended. And then extending the fingers up and reaching up and coming out of the pose, turning the feet and jump the legs together. Standing Tadasana to recover. So this is just such a wonderful stage when we come back to Tadasana. See that the weight is into the back of the heels, so you feel the legs engaging, the fronts of the thighs engaging. Lift out of the pelvis, roll your shoulders back and down. I'm enjoying doing this too as well. Weight down with your arms and find that traction so that you can lift up through the center of the body, lift the sternum plate up away from your pelvis. And breathe. Of course, now we can feel and sense that energy within our body, breathing through the nostrils, filling that space where we've been opening, soft inhalation and exhalation. So always good to just take a little bit of time to recover each pose and just really go inside and observe what's happening, particularly when we work with breath. We're going to come down onto the mat now for Parighasana. So this is a kneeling pose, and it's not dissimilar to what we've been practicing just now in our, sorry, I'm getting wrapped up with the mat here. It's not dissimilar to what we've been doing with our Trikonasana. So come down to the mat and kneeling up. Now what's really key here with any kneeling position or any pose, we have to find out where is the base. Where is the base? So we have to see that we pull the knees a little bit away from the head of the shins so that the shins go down. The calves rest onto the bones. So you've got to try and relax the calves a little bit and move them down, tops of the feet moving down strongly. We're going to take the right leg out towards the right and reach it towards the floor. Now you can see here Leo's got the blanket here, so it encourages the action. If it's difficult to take the foot all the way down to the floor, then you can either use this, or if you've got foam pads, you can put your foot onto a foam pad. So what's very important here, it's a very interesting teaching point, but this crease, this lower back crease, needs to lift up. Now it will make the knee bend. So you have to see that you lift this area and then straighten the leg from that action. So you've got to pull above the knee into the pelvis. You see it's quite a hard job, but you notice that the leg's not dropping down. So it's so easy to do that. So for Leo, this is a tricky action to get. So it takes a little bit of time when you change the direction of the pose. If you have a look here, although we don't want the wrong action, if this drops down, you can see how this drops down. So we've got to see, we pick it up, and we create this softness in the knee because we're picking up the back of the thigh. And this you will find really an important instruction in all your back bends, Sirsasana, inversions, all of this. You have to see that not only do you support from the front of the thigh, but also the back. And now you've got to see, can you straighten it? It's going to hold this. This will be a bit of a job for Leo to do now. You feel the difference in that. So, so it's a strong action, but we're not dropping. So you've got to lift up out of your pelvis, reach those arms out to the side, and then extend over into your pose. So you're hinging, as you can see there's a turn of the arms as you go down. And the palm goes down. You can see a really nice extension here, lifting and extending. So what we tend to do is drop, 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 and the bottom goes out. You can see what we were doing previously. So you still keep this lift here, that's it, and get that action. So it might bring, for some of you, this Parighasana into a completely new symmetry. And if that's the case, then it's always good to challenge the body in that way. And then take a breath in and come up and release in, and releasing the legs back. So I'm going to do the other side now. So I'm just going to fold this layer here, because it's always good to have a double mat, because it's quite a strong action on the knees. So if you find that you need to have a little bit more padding, then you can either use a blanket or you can use the mat. Or some of you may have to pick a mat. Okay, so taking the leg out to the side. So you may find that one leg will go a little bit easier than the other. So also, what I was saying about the previous side is that this area needs to lift up so that you can get this rotation. So the rotation comes exactly the same as the Trikonasana. And then you've got to really pull these muscle fibers, because these fibers get a little bit stuck. So they've got to pull right back into the socket so that you can reach the leg. So what gets a little bit sleepy is this area above the knee. This has got to be energising all your forward bends and all your forward facing poses. This front action of the leg needs to be directed. So the arms out to the side, lift up, chest up, and then come into your Parighasana. So it's very important that you don't spread to the back. So drop the hip out. That's what I mean by spreading. So you're going to keep that outer hip in as you extend over. It's on our introductory syllabus, but I can honestly say it is a really challenging pose. And eventually the palms will come together. I think sometimes we can get the palms together, but it's not always keeping the integrity in the pose. So we have to question that and be sure that we're lifting through the legs and we're understanding that the front body moves to the back body. It's quite difficult in this position to think of lots of different things because of the action of the pose. But coming out, reach in with your fingers and extend up and come up, and then turning the feet. Okay. So you can stretch the mat out now, and we come into a seated pose called Upavistha Konasana. Now we're only coming into the seated action, and Leo's going to be sitting on this blanket. So we quite often sit on a blanket in this position because it's a very challenging action. If you have stiffness in the hips, but also it's a very important pose to work on all of those areas we've already been talking about. You can see that Leo's making a few adjustments there. Okay, so the adjustments are, firstly, is to be sure that the leg is straight and strong and that you're extending into the heel, and the very centre of the heel bone needs to be grounded down. Now it's so easy to lose the action of this inner groin, and you saw that Leo was actually rolling the thigh in. So you have to see that you get those groins moving down. And also there is an action lifting the knees so that the inner groin moves towards the body groin, which is just at the pubic plate region. Then from there you go into the back body, so you have to multitask now. You've got the body groins working. Now you have to lift the anterior side of the lower sacral area. So you have to see that you lift up from the sacral lumbar junction and continue to lift. Yeah, this is it. So all of this, if you don't get this lift with this engaging, then the belly will puff to the floor. So we have to see, yeah, that's the action. Okay, we've all been there. So we have to see that, me particularly. So you have to see that you get this really nice lift here, but the groin is moving in, the body groin moving in, and then we go to the back body. Now it doesn't finish just lifting the from the inner face of the sacral area, because you've got to hit this upper body region, the dorsal spine. So see that you lift the dorsal spine, that's the bottom of the rib cage, all the way up towards the top of the shoulders. Yeah. Keep the chest lifted and just be in this pose, observing, breathing. Just take time. It's a really good pose to practice to help get the understanding of the legs, the straightness of the legs, the lift through the centre of the body. It's always challenging to lift the spine in any seated position. So bring the legs in with a little bit of resistance there, so you come into a Dandasana action. So our next pose is Parivrtta Janu Sirsasana. So this is always a challenging action for so many people. So we're going to start in Dandasana. So some of you may find this pose fairly easy, but I know when I was first introduced to this pose, it was really quite challenging. So we're going to show you a way of how to practice this pose. And so you get the idea of turning and the rotation in it. So firstly we have to come into Janu Sirsasana. So bending your right leg into a Janu Sirsasana action. Now this Janu Sirsasana needs to go further than Janu Sirsasana. So you have to see that although you're taking the heel into the groin, you've got to take the shin back. Yes, and turn. And keep taking this leg back. Yes, and turn. So you can see now that actually there is a natural feeling in the body that you want to turn towards this bent leg. So we're going to put this blanket here. So we did say that you needed to have a blanket as well. So this is very useful, and it's really an important prop because your elbow will slide. Seems amazing that actually just a blanket will help, but it really does help. Now turn, the first stage is just turning towards this bent leg and lifting up. Now you've got to keep this action of turning, turn even more, that's it. Keep that turning, turn, turn, turn. Because you need to be in a position where you can lengthen laterally. So we did do the Parighasana, so it's similar in that respect, that you start to come over in a lateral action. So this is where it gets a little bit confusing. Is sometimes the elbow doesn't reach down to the floor. So we put it on top of the leg here. And with the blanket, you can just turn the elbow and slide. Now, when you get to that stage, pause. Don't be in a rush to reach the foot. What we have to do is to work on the legs again. Remember I was saying previously that you need to pull up from the knee all the way up into the pelvis and turn a little more because this is Parivrtta, revolving action. And see if you can move a little bit more laterally so that you can take hold of the foot. And you can see here, this is a really hard hold because you've got to turn this arm and the palm is on the foot. Now for Leo, she's got quite long arms, so it's quite nice. I have to sort of struggle with this pose a little bit. But try to work so that the fingers, the thumb are all on the sole of the foot. It may not happen to start with. And once you get that rotation, then you reach the top arm up. Now reach it up as much as you can because it's another action. It's like Parivrtta, it's like Paschimottanasana. And then extend it and hold. Now pull on your foot and then see, can you move the inner groins deeper in and get that rotation. Lift the elbow and turn. Lift the elbow and turn. Lift the elbow and turn. Yes, that is the action. All right, and then taking a breath in and coming out. And then straightening the legs. So remember that the preparation is more important than pose at this stage. So if you're learning Parivrtta Trikonasana, then what we would advise is for you to go to our pose directory. We're just about to add a video for Parivrtta Janu Sirsasana, which will give you a few other helpful tips. Alright, so bending the left leg now. So you can see the rolling and manipulation going on here with Leo and her pose. This is a really important stage because the muscles and the skin fibers, they don't know where to go. So it's much easier if you just roll that calf flesh away from the thigh. So you roll the calf flesh away from the thigh. So really key thing for Paschimottanasana as well. So get that turning action, turn, 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 turn. I'm going to use the blanket again because it's quite a nice way of working. Yes, it's really nice. It makes such a difference. Now go and see that you lift up and turn, lift up and turn. And as you do, you've got to still keep this leg pulling back into the pelvis. And then laterally extend to the side, laterally. So you get in this action. That's it. So now, once you get this action, you can see that you pull up from the kneecap even more. Get this action, pulling up the thigh flesh. It's really an important action in all the standing poses, seated poses. Get that rotation even more, turn, 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 and then see, can you hold on to your foot? And then reach the top arm up and then take it over. Hold on to the foot and pull on the foot, and then see, can you work on the legs again? So you've got to see those body groins, the side of the pubic plate are deepening their action towards the spine. And then see that if that bent leg lifts off the floor, you've got to push it down, you've got to push it down, you've got to push that area down. And then slowly coming out of the pose.
It shows all the areas that are tight and short when you go into that pose.
Yeah, it's such a strong pose, such a strong pose. And then, but that's why we practice these poses, because they help us so much.
Absolutely.
With our restrictions. So sitting in a good Dandasana, so we're coming for Paschimottanasana now. So again, another extreme, going deeper pose. You can see Leo's pulling the buttock flesh out. So again, self-manipulation. This is really important to get the space. Well, our skin does crease, our muscle fibre creases underneath us. So it's really important that we smooth it out a little bit. If it's not a natural thing for your body to do, then you have to give it a little bit of help. To come into this pose, you're going to reach for your big toes. So extending forward. Now, when you reach for your big toes, the emphasis needs to be on the leg. See that you pull up from above the knee, the inner groins. Remember Upavistha Konasana, how we were teaching that action, and the body groins need to move deeply in. Now, pull on the big toes and see how much you can lift the whole of the dorsal spine. Dorsal spine, lower ribs, all the way up towards the shoulders, and keep that action. Now once you get this action, you have to see that the body groins move deeper than the extension. So it's what we have to do is synchronize this action. So as you come forward, you have to see that the body groins go back. So it's a two-way direction. So sometimes you get carried away with the forward bend, and the body groins drop onto the thighs. The belly drops onto the thighs, so we're going to keep that back. Bend the elbows and come into your pose. That's it. Then you can hold on to the sides of the feet, or if you've got long arms, like Leo has, you just hold on to the wrists or the palms in this way and let the head release down. So we're just going to hold this pose for a few moments. Remembering the leg work, the extension of the heels, the pulling back of the tops of the knees, the body groins, the inner thighs, and now just let the whole spine become weighted. So weight the spine towards the thighs and just be there. Remembering your breath will help you in these very closed poses. So breathe and feel the expansion of the upper chest cavity. Don't just grimace in this pose without your breath and connection with your body. This is when you learn so much about your body. When you're in these extreme folds, then we have to work on all levels. So not only on a physical level, but also organically with the breath, understand what's happening with the whole of the forward extension. So we're going to come out of the pose now. Lift the head firstly, straighten the arms, draw the abdomen to the spine and come up into Dandasana. Okay, from here we come into Marichyasana 3, so we've got all the favourites today. Okay, so you start with bending your right leg first. Hold on to the shin and lift up. So I always find this is very challenging, this pose, because we've got to find the space to twist. So again, we learn from the forward bend action. So when we were talking about the groins moving back strongly, the body groins moving towards the spine, this is really key in this action. Now extend your left arm up And lean forward just slightly and then hook the arm. That's it. So you can see here we've gone straight to it. So we haven't just gone into an upright position like this, which is where you would start. We've gone right down here like this. Now from this straight jacket, if you're anything like me, then you have to really work hard from the base of the body all the way through the spine to get the lift again. So you're going to try and lift up from this position. You see the dorsal spine has got to work very strongly. But with this action, with having the arm, the outer arm, close towards the knee, you'll be able to rotate and get the full action. So turning the arm and then see if you can catch. And then, from that catching, you've got to keep the straight leg straight. But now, you have to see that you lift up even more. Lift up, go and extend. Go and extending from the base of the body all the way up towards the sternum chest. And gradually start to unfold the action. That's if you can still breathe in it. So, still breathe, be aware of your breath, and then release it. So don't worry if it's difficult to catch, because you can use a belt to catch, or you can just go to the first stage, because the catching is a little bit extreme. You can see also that Leo's sitting on support, and this does help. Sometimes it's good to sit on a slightly higher support so that you can lift the spine. This is one of the biggest difficulties, is that when you drop and you drop your pelvis, then it's very hard to get any movement anywhere else. So the upward action is really key to start with. So this is a few stages on. Okay, so bend in now, the left leg, holding onto the shin. Lifting up, chest up, yeah, and breathe. And then reaching up with your right arm now. And hook the arm, that's it, and then turn. So it might take you a little while to get that turning action. You have to manipulate a little bit. And you can see here what's really nice, you can see this, is that Leo's turning her waist with her hand, but also she's just kind of revving up the action with her arm and pushing the arm and moving it and just bringing it forward and moving it back into the outer thigh. It really does help to get that final action of lifting. And then see, can you catch the arms? So rotating shoulder and turning and catching. And then you've got to see, are you able gradually to unfold the spine again? And this is where the work is. This is where the prescription of the pose lies, is straightening up again. So again, with these extreme actions, you don't need to strain, you just take each stage as it comes. When it comes a little bit difficult or you come to a barrier, just pause, try to release, try to make your adjustments, and then go a little bit further if you're able to. But be sensible with your body. Go to the first stage. If the catching is too much, go to the first stage or use a belt behind your back so that you can hold on to the belt and still get the action. And then unfolding the arms and coming into Dandasana. Okay, rolling your shoulders back and down, and just take a few moments to take a few breaths, extending your heels away from you, bringing your toes towards you, pulling up the knees strongly, inner thighs, abdomen, lifting through the center of the body, chest lifted. Be aware of your breath. We're coming for Parivrtta Paschimottanasana. So for some of you may have practiced this before, but if this is your first time, we're going to come into this in a way that is a really nice twisting action. Going back to Marichyasana 3, this is how we're going to start. So you're going to start with bending your right leg. Now it's not such a deep action as Marichyasana 3, so you just bring the leg to about here. And then you hook your left arm over the thigh. Now already you're getting that turn in action. So you've got to turn the muscle fibers, the paraspinal muscles. You've got to see that you turn so that you're getting, it's a kind of Marichyasana 3 action. And then we're just going to lift the foot and slide the leg and let the body come with you. So the thing is with this is that you've got to pull this leg back into the socket because it gets a bit carried away. And then you reach the foot and then you bring the top arm to reach the other side of the foot. That's it, and hold. And now pull on those feet and move those thighs right back into the roots of the thighs, into the abdomen, and then start to get that rotation. So try to see that you're not overly leaning onto your left buttock. Yeah, so you're seeing Leo getting that action. Yeah, so getting that length. And then slowly releasing. So it's always quite a challenging action. Again, you can use the blanket on the thighs and come into it in that way, how we showed in Parivrtta, Janu, Sirsasana. So bending now the left leg, so it's not quite a closed action. Hook the arm. Now, the most important aspect of this pose is to get that rotation. Otherwise, you'll find that it will be quite a strain on the body to try to rotate when you're already in a forward action. So lift the foot and step the foot or slide the foot, however you can. But be mindful, once this leg straightens, this leg needs to pull back into the socket strongly and bring the feet so that they are as level as you can get them. Then place the hand and then reach the top arm up and over and then catch. Now pull on the feet, ground down with the buttocks and try to lengthen the crown of the head towards the foot side. So rather than twisting, get the length first. So pull on the feet and then go for the rotation and breathe. It's a really challenging action. And then slowly releasing and coming up and sitting in Dandasana. There's always challenging action. If you've got longer arms, then that does help. But it's just practice.
Not that much.
Oh dear. They are quite challenging actions. Now you then need to chair, maybe not. We're coming for Parighasana. So this is always quite a challenging action. So if you're familiar with Parighasana, take the soles of the feet together. Now again, same instruction. When we're in Upavistha Konasana, then you've got to see that the body groins move deeply into the body, and then you let the legs release down. So if the legs are not going down to the floor yet, then that's quite normal because it's a work in progress. So to help you with this pose, the forward action is really a good practice, but quite often it is really fairly painful on the groins. So it's good to go up before you go forward and down. So I'm going to put this chair here so Leo can reach to the top of the chair. How's that? Okay. And then with that action, it needs to go a little bit closer to you. With that action, you've got to see that you move the body groins into the back body and let those thighs release down and come into this forward action. So there's quite a lot of work going on here because the chair's buckling. So I know there's a lot of work going on there. So this is Parighasana for bend. So for those of you who are able to, you may be able to just show you without the chair. Hold on to the foot and then lift up, and as you lift up you come forward. So it's exactly the same thing. So think about coming back with the back body's got to the front body's got to meet the back body as you come forward. Yeah. So you're coming into this action. Yeah. And you can use your arms against your shins to keep them in, and then coming into the position and slowly releasing yourself forward. So you might find that you can get a little bit somewhere with this pose and then release it. So you always put a lower support under the head like a blanket. This really is quite helpful. It is a really extreme action for the hips. And because of that, we're coming into your Savasana now, but on the chair. So you're going to put your legs onto the chair. So if you've got a chair handy and you haven't been using it for the previous pose, then do use it now, because this is really nice to settle the back. You can place the blanket underneath the head. That's it. Well done. And the beauty of this pose is that it relaxes the abdomen, and therefore the spinal muscles start to release. So we've been working quite a lot on the twisting actions, more extreme. So give your body a little bit of a rest in this Savasana action. Just close your eyes, soft inhalation and exhalation. I'm going to leave Leo in this pose, and you can stay in this pose for as long as you wish to. But we are finishing our video here. We hope you enjoyed the video. And if you like our videos, then do press the like button and subscribe to our channel. Namaste.